was on a camping trip in Northern California, Trinidad, California to be exact, a little bit north of Eureka. My wife Angie, myself, her brother Tim, and his wife Jeanette. And we had a lot of luggage and coolers, and so we rented a van to take us on our trip. We were about 6 hours north of San Francisco, and we started to head back, and we got about 30 minutes into our trip, and Angie saw a sign on the side of the road that said, "You're about 30 miles from being able to drive through some tree." And she said, "Man, we got to do this. You know, we're never going to be back here, so let's go and drive through this tree." So we headed off to wherever it was. About 45 minutes later, there we were at the entrance to this tourist attraction that you can drive through one of those big sequoias or redwoods, whatever. After paying an obscenely high entrance fee to get into an obscenely long line of vehicles, we were on our way to drive through the tree. As you're sitting in that line, you look at things a little differently, and one of the things I learned in that line is that you really can see the forest through the tree. The other thing I saw was that our Plymouth van was not going to fit in that hole in the tree. So I mentioned this to the van mates, and they said, "Oh no, you know, it's going to be fine. You're just afraid. Don't be a scaredy cat. We're going to make it." So we kept going, and I'm looking, and it's, I don't know, this isn't going to work. And Jeanette said, "Tim and I are going to get out of the van, like leaving the sinking ship, and they're going to run around to the other side of the tree, and when we come through, they're going to take our video, and my wife and I could have this for the rest of our life as we came through the van." And I guess the premise of that is that when we'd be sitting in retirement in Key West in the Green Parrot, we'd want to put that on the TV for everyone to see it. But we kept going, and I said to my wife, I said, "Angie, we cannot get this van in the tree." And she rolls down her window and yells out, "He says he can't get the van in the tree." So there's people standing out there, and they're looking, and we get upward now, the first one in line, and I can see Tim at the other end, and he's doing one of these things, back and forth, and he yells out, "Tell him to take the mirrors, fold them in, he'll have a quarter of an inch on either side." So Angie says to me, "Fold in the mirrors, you'll have a quarter of an inch on either side." I said, "No, this isn't going to happen." And when they had run around to the other side of the tree, I noticed there was a bypass that you could go around the tree. So I just started turning the van, and I'm hearing Tim and Jeanette yelling, "Where are you going? What are you doing? What's happening?" And Angie's inside the van, and she's saying, "Where are you going? What's going on?" And as I'm turning, I said to her, "I'm not getting stuck in a fucking tree." Angie sticks her head out of the window. "He says he's not getting stuck in a fucking tree." So, of course, we get across, they get in the van, they're laughing, and that kind of became our default for the whole rest of the trip. Anytime there was a lull in the conversation, one of them would say, "I'm not getting stuck in a fucking tree." And they'd all laugh. When we got home, they told their nephews, my nephews, their children, and now, of course, whenever we're with them and their wives, whatever, one of them will go through it. A few years later, I'm sitting on the couch at home watching a news program, and they tease their next story, which is, "Iconic California tourist attraction is no more." So, wait, it comes on, and sure enough, they'd had a bunch of bad weather hit the northern coast, and the tree had splintered and fallen to the ground. So I called Angie. She answered the phone. I said, "You're welcome." She said, "Well, what did I do?" I said, "Well, you didn't do anything, it's what I did." And she said, "And what is it you did?" I said, "Well, you remember that tree that I wouldn't drive through? It splintered last night and fell down." I saved your life, Tim's life, and Jeanette's life. And so she immediately, I can hear her on the phone, you can hear the, she's on the computer, because we kind of have this relationship that is trust but verified. Our own personal glasnost, She goes, oh, you're right, it did. And that keeps going, and it goes over to, she says, oh, I'm gonna text Jeanette and tell her about it. And Jeanette answered immediately. She said, oh no, now I'm not gonna be able to drive through that fucking tree. Thank you.